Our next honoree is a recipient of the Coach Pressler Award, Mike Pressler, who couldn't make it here to dinner today. But Coach Pressler's commitment to the Duke University lacrosse team has demonstrated an unshakable character and courage. In his name, the foundation recognizes individuals who have overcome adversity and social pressures in support of truth and integrity. Now, our recipient is a man to whom I refer, it is no surprise, Mr. Solly Walker, a Brooklyn educator and a St. John's University legend. Now, as Mr. Walker makes his way up, and I give you another chance to give him a round of applause. Solly Walker was the first African American to play at St. John's University, his first season being 1951-52, when the Redmen made their first appearance in the Final Four. He's a graduate of Boys High in Brooklyn and excelled both in sports as well as a student. All-American, all-scholastic. Walker went on to play for St. John's, and during that season, he was subjected to things that we couldn't even imagine with regard to segregation, but he handled it with class and dignity. He was drafted by the New York Knicks, but as I mentioned, chose to pursue a career in education. He became one of the first black high school principals in New York City, and as an educator, he continued to serve the youth of our community as a Knight Center director, where he taught hundreds of young men the fundamentals of basketball. Some of the greatest players coming out of the city of New York were under his tutelage. So with that, please welcome and appreciate a man of extraordinary courage and commitment, our 2008 recipient of the Mike Pressler Award, Mr. Solly Walker.
Thank you very much. After that introduction, I should just take my trophy and go home. But first, I would like to thank the selection committee from the Frank McGuire Foundation for even considering me for this award. It's an honor. And I was asked, what would I do with such an award? I told them very quickly that I would put it right next to a picture of the coach that caused all this, Frank McGuire, on my mantelpiece. You know, it's really a pleasure to see such a nice audience here. A lot of you might be friends, might have been people that I worked with over the years, but most important of all, I see my St. John's posse here. You know, you'll never realize the support and direction that they have given me over the years. Just because you get a degree and graduate doesn't mean that you lose their friendship and support. But first of all, I would like to also congratulate the coaches who were awarded tonight, because many, many years ago, coaches were very important in my life. You don't realize the lives that you touched. Take the 15 or 20 or 40 or 80 people that you might have on your team or squad. They all listen, they imitate, and they try and duplicate whatever you might be or what they're trying to teach you. I have a few important men in my life also. A junior high school math teacher picked me up in the 8th grade and taught me the game of basketball. He only taught me the skills that I could master at that time. Within a year, I was playing in Madison Square Garden for the championship of the Daily Mirror tournament against ball players such as Jack Molinas and other guys from the Bronx. But on the team that I was with was 4 shooters and me. They just taught me how to rebound and pitch out. But it got the attention of Mickey Fisher, who was then the coach of Boys High School, who came into Brownsville. Now you have to understand the face of basketball back in the 40s. It's not what it is today. In the high schools that I was slated for, would have been difficult for me to play because of many reasons. So I got the opportunity to go to Boys High School in central Brooklyn, and there he taught me everything I needed to know for Frank McGuire to give my parents a call in June of 1950. And he said, could he come over to talk to them about me attending St. John's. At that time, I was slated to go to a school in the South, and I really didn't want to go down south to school because I was born in the South. My parents brought us up here when I was about maybe 4 or 5 years of age, but every summer, we would go back down to visit my grandmother and spend 2 months in South Carolina. And by the time I was 12, my parents refused to let me go down there anymore without them. You know, right now you look at an old movie, a black and white movie, and the things that you saw in the South at that time really, I would say, frightened me. But since I was only there 2 months, I said I could deal with it for 2 months, and then I'm back up here in New York. You might see it on TV, you might read about it, but you have to experience it. When you're walking down the streets, it's like in slow motion. If you encounter a group on the sidewalk, you have to walk down into the streets. You see signs by the water fountain, one for you and one for another race. So when Mr. McGuire started talking about St. John's, he mentioned the fact that next year, St. John's is going to visit Kentucky in Lexington and play the University of Kentucky. And when he mentioned that to my parents, right away I saw their heads perk. So he was very polite. My parents got all the information, and he left. And right away my father said, "You're not going down there." And there was a long discussion before they finally conceded, because Mr. McGuire assured them that wherever the team went, I would go.